guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited for today's video. We are going to be cleaning out the makeup purgatory. We're going to be doing a reckoning of sorts. The series was definitely inspired by Hannah Louise Poston and Tom from Hope Mess Tom. And I did post a video similar to this about a month and a half ago, but I feel like throughout April and May, I did bring a lot of makeup into my collection. So I definitely have some things that I am ready to push into my permanent collection. I have some things that I know just are not going to work out for my collection. So I will ultimately end up decluttering. And then I have some things that I am still deciding about. So if you are interested in my thoughts on all of the products that have come into my makeup collection the last several months, what's staying, what's going, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project painting content, palette themed content, chit-chatting about makeup, just hanging out, I would really appreciate if you would consider subscribing before moving on. Also, don't forget to like this video and leave a comment down below, or do anything else the YouTube algorithm loves for you to do. I would really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, I do have my hair claw clipped, but I have so much hair that I just like never know what's going on back there. So it is what it is. It's fine. Okay, I have a big bucket of makeup, and then I also have this PR box. And I kind of just want to start with the naked, oh my gosh. We're off to a great start. Oh, and the claw clip is dying. We're really off to a great start here. Okay. Hopefully we're clipped in tight back there. I still feel like I look a little ridiculous. All right, I'm gonna start with this package right here. And the reason we're gonna start with this is I definitely do not want all of these. I have said that I'm definitely getting more into a simple eye look. I like an eyeshadow crayon these days. I like a potted shadow. I like a one and done on the lids. Not what we have going on today, but I have been into that. So I took out the three that I am interested in keeping, which those three are, I just swatched them right here. I don't know if that was smart, probably not. We have Top Off, Peach Shimmer, and Toasty. So I'm gonna keep the three most shimmery of the three, just because that's typically, if I'm doing an eyeshadow crayon, it's usually because I want something that is slightly shimmery on the lid. I just don't reach for like a matte crayon that much. The only one I'm thinking about possibly keeping, I have so much swatched in my hand right here. Blurred Out is swatched right there. It is this like, no, I'm just never gonna reach for it. I'm never gonna reach for that. I'm just gonna keep these three shades. The rest I'm gonna give to my daughter. She wants to play around with them. I'm sure she also wants the shimmery ones, so we'll probably end up sharing. But these, the other five here, I have Tasteful, Senescent, Blurred Out, Blurred Out, Exposed, and Private Album are all going to be not making it into my permanent makeup collection. Last time I did a video like this, I was talking about I said that the NARS Hot Escape Cheek Palette in 1 was making it into my permanent collection. At that time, I had not yet purchased the Hot Escape Cheek Palette 2, which I have, and both are in my permanent collection. I absolutely love these. I am someone that actually does like a face palette, and NARS does make my favorite face palettes. I love NARS face palettes a lot. The packaging is like 10 out of 10. I cannot with how cute the packaging is, and I really like the products inside. So, oh, I was like, what was that? My oven's ready for the pizza. This is Hot Escape 1, and I think this is so beautiful. I use all 4 shades in this palette, which is not always typical in a face palette. I think the bronzer is beautiful. I really like this kind of baby cheeks sort of blush shade. This blush topper is really beautiful on top of this, or even on its own. That can get a little bit glowy, but I've been enjoying a glow. And then I think that the highlight in this one is pretty as well. There's a bit of like a pinkiness to it. It's almost like a rose gold champagne highlight. I think it's beautiful. And then in Hot Escape 2, we have these 4 shades. I have been using the bronzer. It is definitely a more intense bronzer and something that's going to work best for me in the summertime. This blush shade is so beautiful. I don't feel like I have anything quite like this in my collection. Perhaps in another NARS face palette I do, but I can't think of anything quite like this. Maybe one of my Lawless shades in Indian Summer would be most similar, but this is such a beautiful bright kind of berry fuchsia. I don't know, it's such a pretty shade. I will say it is quite pigmented, so I do like to go in with my brush and then tap my brush out onto my hand and then lightly build this, but it just looks like hot summer cheeks in my mind. Like when you've like really been out there doing the most, maybe you've had like a full day of boating and you are sunburned, but like it's like a pink instead of a red sunburn. I think it's stunning. I also love the blush topper. I will say this blush topper just on its own does look very metallic on my cheeks, so I really only like to use this layered over top of this blush or another blush. And then we have a really beautiful kind of champagne gold highlight as well. I will say if I could only keep one of these two, I think I will get the most use out of this, just because this is something that will really only work for me when I do have a tan, but I'm still very glad to have both of them. Both of these have earned a spot in my permanent makeup collection. A product that I am going to end up passing along is the Huda Easy Blur Natural Airbrush Foundation. I did like this when I was first using it, but the last several times that I've used this, it has looked so dry on my skin. My skin looks like it has aged 10 plus years, and it is just not flattering on my skin. It doesn't last me a full work day, and I just have so many other foundations that I can trust more and that I just like better on my skin. There's no point in me keeping this, so I will end up passing this one along. This is not making it to the permanent collection. We can talk about these two now because these are absolutely making their way into my permanent collection. I have been truly obsessed with both of these. I have a cream bronzer and then I have a powder bronzer. Have not been able to put either of these two down. So I ended up picking up both of these during the Sephora VIB sale. First, I have the Ilia Sun Shift Cream Bronzer. I have the shade Eclipse, which is the lightest of the, I believe, 4 in their range. You can see, like, do we see the dip? Do we see the dip? I've definitely been using this. This does have this is a glowy bronze. So if you do not like a glowy bronze, you are not gonna like this. I absolutely love this. It gives such a healthy sun-kissed glow to the skin. I also love to be bronzed, and it's just giving bronzed goddess in my opinion. I think it's so beautiful. It's so easy to work with, so creamy, so blendable. And this is also really beautiful all over the chest and neck. It almost as like bronzed body makeup that kind of blurs out. I don't know, I just feel like I like a bit of a blur. I was using the Tower 28 Bronzino a couple years ago, and I actually tried this on my like chest just yesterday for the first time, and I really enjoyed using it that way. Granted, I'm not going to do that every single time, like every single day throughout the summer. Maybe like patio drinking days when I want to be even bronzier and glowier, but I don't want to like waste all the product putting it all over my chest. Regardless, I think this is such a beautiful cream bronzer. This is my favorite cream bronzer that I have tried. So beautiful. Definitely entering the collection. And then the Dior Forever Nude Bronze. I have the shade 10. I think I thought I was going to say more there and then I didn't. Awkward. Anyway, also picked this up during the Sephora VIB sale. I literally cannot put this down. Since purchasing this bronzer, I will say on days that I'm going to work, a lot of days I'm not doing a ton of makeup, and I'm using just oh my gosh, the Dibs Beauty Duo, because it's in my overnight bag. Every single time I've done my makeup and used a powder bronzer, with the exception of probably 3 or 4 times that I've like forced myself to use other things, I have been reaching for this bronzer. I love this. It is definitely more warm on my skin, but I love warmth in the summer. It is just, again, kind of beautiful bronzed goddess. I feel like this blends very easily. It doesn't necessarily have like a glow to it, but I feel like it gives like a warmth that like sun would give you, and just makes your skin look like it has a bit of a healthy glow. It's also very buildable. I don't find that it's ultra pigmented right off the bat, so I can build it without going too heavy handed. I just think it's such a freaking phenomenal bronzer. My favorite current bronzer in my collection. So this is definitely making it. Oh, the only thing I want to point out, which I've been trying to point out anytime I talk about this, is when I first started using this, I did get some hard pan. I have since used this so much that I've like worn away the imprint in the center, and I have not noticed getting hard pan since making my way through that kind of first layer of the product. So I don't know if it's just like something like on the very top layer of the product. I really don't know. And then there is like a light scent to it. That's not like my absolute favorite scent either, but regardless, this is my favorite bronzer. Another product that won't make it into my permanent collection, speaking of bronzers, I have the What's Up Beauty Wind Dancers Pressed Setting Powder. This is in the shade Tan, and I was keeping this to see if I wanted to use this as a bronzer, but because I have been loving these two so much, I haven't even been able to get myself to reach for this and try it as a bronzer except for one time. And I feel like this just looks too yellowy orange that I just don't feel like it's going to be a shattering. that I don't think it's gonna be a flattering shade of bronze on my skin. And I can just tell you, I'd rather reach for this literally every other day, so there's no point in me keeping this. This will not be making the permanent collection. Another product that is definitely making the permanent collection that has become a fast favorite, and I've literally convinced 2 of the girls that I work with to order this, is the Dior Forever Glow Luminizer. This is in the shade 3 Halo Pink. This is such a beautiful pink highlight, and it's not as icy pink as a lot of the other highlights in my collection. I feel like it has a bit of warmth to it, and I just feel like it makes my skin look like it has this like candlelit glow. It is not quite as glowy as the highlighter that I have on today, but it still does provide this like lit from within, but like turn it up just a little bit of a notch sort of a glow. And because of the pinkiness to it, I feel like a lot of the blushes I've been pairing this with just kind of like it all blends in as one, and it just looks so flattering on the cheeks. I think this might be my new favorite pink highlight of all time. Quite possibly could be. So this is entering the permanent collection. I also have the YSL Make Me Blush powder blush in the shade Nude Lavalier. I'm like, I don't think it says on here. Nude Lavalier. I picked this up during this 4 VIB sale as well, and I have freaking loved this. This with this highlight, this is such a beautiful combination. I love these 2 paired together. This is, I feel like, a somewhat unique blush shade to my collection. It is, it's not quite as like cool toned and lavender as my Valentino one, but it just has, I don't know, a bit of a lavenderiness. It's more of like a cool toned, but still not too cool. And you can, like, depending on what you pair it with, I feel like it can read warm as well. It's a very flexible blush in that I feel like it can match just about anything. It reads very like neutral in that way, but I feel like it is quite unique to my collection. I also love the quilted packaging. This feels like a luxury treasure. I feel like this does add something to my blush collection, and this is something that I do want to move permanently into my collection. Let's just talk about all the blushes I have here at the moment. There's a few that I'm going to keep testing. The other one that I'm definitely going to bring into my collection is another little luxury treat. This is the Gucci blush, and this one is in the shade Rosy Beige. I got this like right before my birthday, so I've had this for just about a month at this point in time, and I feel like I've reached for this quite a bit. There's times where I feel like I'll buy something new, I'll use it like somewhere between 3 to 5 times, and then I'm like, okay, I have my thoughts on this, and then it's like on to the next. I've kept returning back to this because it's such a like neutral reading blush as well. Very flexible, can really match a warm toned eyeshadow look, a cool toned eyeshadow look. It's such a flattering shade. It's not super pigmented either, so I feel like you can really build this, or you can really sheer this out, and I just love the shade of this. It kind of has like a satin finish in that it's like, doesn't feel like it's totally matte, but it doesn't read as a glowy blush either. I think it's beautiful. I'm really glad that I went with this shade just because I feel like I can get so much use out of this. So this one is also entering the collection. This one I'm not ready to decide yay or nay on. This is the Too Faced the Tower 28 Get Set, what am I saying? Get Set blush in the shade Long Beach Iced Tea. So this is a nude matte blush, and it's just so boring. And I wanted the nude because I do really like a nude blush, especially in the summertime when I'm going for like a very bronzy look, and I want a blush, but I just want it to kind of enhance and add to the bronziness that I'm getting. So I'm gonna keep this and see how much I reach for this throughout the summer. I love my Laura Mercier Fresco blush for a nude blush. This one is like even more neutral leaning, but because it is a matte blush, I feel like it's not exactly what I'm looking for either. Like when I think of like bronzy in the summer, I think of like glowy bronzy, and because this is matte, it's just, I don't think it's giving me what I want. Ultimately, I feel like this is something that I will end up decluttering at the end of the year. But as of right now, I'm gonna keep testing and trying it. I'm not ready to decide either way. So this is just gonna go back into the bin. And then these two, I am still like working my way through. I've definitely reached for Sear more than I have Condensate. These are from Phytosurgence. These are the Skin Spark Cream Blushes. Here's the shade Sear. I can swatch this. Let me swatch it right here. A really, really beautiful like brownie blush. Obviously that was a very heavy swatch. Kind of brown mauve-y sort of blush. I think I'm gonna get so much more use out of this in the fall time. So far I have really enjoyed the few times that I have reached for it, but I also feel like on days that I'm reaching for a cream blush is usually days that I'm going to work, that I have my overnight bag, that I have my like duo that I've been reaching for. And I also just feel like this doesn't scream summer, although I will say I feel like this could be like a really beautiful brown that adds to like a bronzy look. So I'm gonna keep testing this. I do think ultimately I will end up keeping this, but I feel like I haven't used it enough to form like a solidified opinion. So I'm gonna keep going with that one. And then same thing with the shade Condensate, which is this really cool toned, like taupey, bruisey sort of blush. This is definitely like my intrigue for this shade definitely came from Tom, from Hope Meth Tom. I think I've reached for this twice, and the 2 times that I reached for it, I definitely, like, the look did not match the blush. So I'm gonna keep testing and trying this one as well. I think ultimately I will keep this, but I just haven't used it enough to really form an opinion. And honestly, both of these blushes I feel like are just more like, in my opinion, something I would reach for in fall rather than spring, summer. So it might be something that I keep in the testing drawer for quite a while longer. But I do really enjoy the formula. I think it's a long-lasting cream blush formula. It's really easy to work with, and I've really enjoyed my time with the Phytosurgence products that I have purchased. So speaking of, I actually do have this product right here. This is the Spectral Shine in the shade Divine Daylight. And I will say I'm really glad that I've heard Tom, can you tell that I like Tom's channel? Heard Tom talk about this, because they had said this is not going to be for everyone, kind of described the best way to use this. And had I not watched them talk about this in that way, I don't think I would have liked this product at all. It is quite a stiff balm. Like, it's not something that you can really warm up in your hand. In fact, I probably would have thought that I had like a faulty product had I like not done any sort of research on this. But I use a really thick brush for this. Right now this one is really dirty with blush, but I've used the e.l.f. airbrush blender with this, and you really want to like press your brush in and really like work the product into your brush and then like blend it onto the cheeks. And this is really not going to be like the most highlighty product of all times. I've mostly used this on days that I'm going out for a walk and I'm doing like sunscreen and just want to add like a bit of like a sweaty glow. Like, I just want it to look like I'm sweaty when I'm not, but like in a beautiful way. And I really, really enjoy this for that, kind of like my gym highlight, if you will. So what am I going to do with this one? I have really been enjoying it. I am gonna move this into my permanent collection. I feel like, and actually I'm gonna still have this sitting behind me with my new products. Otherwise I feel like this could get forgotten, but I feel like I can get so much use out of this summer, because I love to go on my walks in the summer and I just swatched it kind of with a brush right there. Like, do you see? It just adds like a glass skin light glow. Nothing intense at all, but just like kind of enhances your skin. So I'm going to be moving this into my permanent collection, but I'm going to have it sitting back here just so I make sure I get a ton of use out of this summer. Next, I have my Givenchy Prisme Libre pressed powder, or Prisme Libre, however you say it, pressed powder in the shade Viola Rosé. I purchased this at the beginning of the month. I have been enjoying this, using this mostly underneath my eyes. I'm gonna keep testing it though before I officially move it into my permanent collection, just because there was one day I used it to like, oh my gosh, in my smile lines, or like brought it down my face just a little bit. I didn't love it that way. And I feel like I've really been enjoying my Makeup by Mario loose powder to set underneath my eyes a little bit more than this. But that's not to say I won't end up keeping this. I think ultimately I will, but I want to keep testing and trying this just to kind of further my thoughts and opinions. I want to use this all over my face at least 1 or 2 times just to kind of see what happens there. So I'm going to keep testing this one before we make an ultimate decision. Another 2 foundation products I'm going to keep testing throughout the summer. Both of these I feel like are summer appropriate, or just products that I would get most use out of in the summertime. I have the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Tinted Moisturizer, which I have enjoyed. I just don't know if I like this one better than, I don't think I like this one better than the Milk Hydro Grip. And so I don't know if I will feel it necessary to have both of these in my collection. I also have my Supergoop Protect Tint Daily SPF with 50 SPF in it. This is making it into my permanent collection. I do really like the Milk Hydro Grip. This gives a really beautiful tinted glow to the skin. Set with the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Powder, I think it's beautiful if you want a little bit more coverage. I feel like I get really good wear time with this, and I have actually really enjoyed my time with the Milk Hydro Grip, which is kind of shocking. I feel like milk products really go one of two ways for me, and I honestly didn't think I was gonna love this, but I have really enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna get a ton of use out of this in the summer, and so this is gonna make it to the permanent collection, and then I'm gonna see how much I realistically want to reach for this, and then make my mind up later on the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue. And same thing with the ABH Beauty Balm. This product is so sheer. I don't find myself really ever wanting to reach for this, but if I were to reach for it, summer would be the time. I'm gonna toss this in my overnight bag. Although I really just like a primer on those. We're gonna see if I use this. We're gonna see if I get any use out of this summer, see if I change my mind, see if this becomes a holy grail favorite for like sheer summer coverage. I don't know, but as of this moment, I'm leaning more towards decluttering, but I am gonna give it a chance this summer. Then I have my Half Magic eyeshadow sticks, which I have really been enjoying, and I'm gonna move all three of these into my permanent collection. I have the shade Beigey Mystique. I'll swatch all of these. Okay, I have Beigey Mystique, Princess Teddy, and then Frostwinkle. This is, I think, my favorite eyeshadow crayon formula I have used thus far. I find that it's extremely long lasting. The sparkle still like comes through, like even like hours into the day. It sets down really beautifully, and it's just a really nice formula to work with. This is like the eyeshadow crayon that's making me want to play around with eyeshadow crayons, that's making me feel happy with just like a simple eye look. So I have really enjoyed all three of these, and I am going to move these into my collection. I don't see a day that I want to declutter these this year, and I've been surprised at how much I am reaching for this. I don't think this is going to be a situation where we reach the end of the year and I'm like, haha, what was I thinking? I knew I wasn't an eyeshadow crayon girly and I bought them anyway. Like, I genuinely think I will continue to get so much use out of these throughout the rest of the year. And we'll see how many more eyeshadow crayons I end up buying this year. But these are all making it. Okay, my camera battery died, so if I move slightly, you know why. All right, another product that I am not going to be bringing into my collection is this from What's Up Beauty. I actually revisited this product. I got this, I believe, last year around this time. And this is their liquid liner. I have the shade Comet here, which is the black. And I had already decluttered the second shade in the collection, which was kind of like a duochrome green. I started using this as something like on my top lid. What am I trying to say? To line like my top lid after my Hindash, after I finished up my Hindash liquid liner. And I just don't like a liquid liner like this. I like something that's more like a pen. This just has too much product on it. I find that it's really messy. I find that I get a thicker line than I want, and it's just not my preferred liquid liner. I also don't do like a true wing, barely ever, so this just doesn't make sense to keep in my collection. It's just not the style of product that I would be reaching for. That I'm going to declutter. And then the final product to talk about, Bare Minerals sent over all of their lip oils. I've already given a couple, at least one, to my daughter, and there's several in here that I've told her she can have. I think the two, well, I take that back. I'm going to see if I reach for these in the fall winter, and if not, or if I make my way, I'm gonna keep one other summer shade and give the rest to my daughter. If I don't end up liking the summer shade, like reaching for the summer shade much, then I might end up decluttering these sooner. But I do like a shade like this for the fall winter time. I just think this is pretty sheer on the lips. It offers a bit of pigment, but overall pretty sheer. And so far using this, it's not been my favorite lip oil formula. This one is in the shade Adore. This is kind of the hot pink. I think this is the one I will end up keeping for the summer. It just kind of feels like it sits on your lips, and it is not super long lasting. It doesn't feel like it's like a super nourishing lip oil either. But the other three, and honestly, okay, I feel like my daughter would like the pinks the best. So maybe I'll keep the orange for myself, and I'm gonna pass these three on to her. There was also fuchsia purple I can't find, but I did give that to her. So these 3 are exiting my collection, entering my daughter's. And then these 3, I'm still testing. I feel like I could easily like have this as like a car lip oil and fly through it. But also, is there another lip oil I'd rather be reaching for? I don't know yet. I don't know. We're gonna keep testing and trying these. And those are all the products that I haven't, like, I do still have new products back here, but the majority of them I've only just gotten in the last couple of weeks. So I'm not even like ready to form a final opinion on them. So that is my thoughts on everything recently that I brought in, what I'm actually going to be bringing into my collection, what I'm still testing and trying, and then the couple of products that I know for sure will not be entering my collection. I would love to know if you have any products that you've recently purchased that you don't want to keep, and I would love to know if you've recently found a new favorite. Let a girl know in the comments below. Other than that, thank you so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.